we are gonna make the most delicious lasagna al forno, right? A classic. People love lasagna, and I wanna give you a really solid recipe that will take care of you, your family, your friends, and give you deliciousness every single time. We're gonna do a lasagna al forno with a meat ragu, okay? Let's start with the meat, and let's start with the smoked pancetta. So just finely slice the bacon. So in the pan we go. Everyone knows that good things happen when you smell a nice bit of smoky bacon. Then what I would suggest is putting in your bay leaves, in with the garlic. So as that's frying off, I'm just gonna take the leaves off the rosemary, like that. This act of making a ragu, I love the ritual of it. So now we go in with the carrots, the celery, and the lovely red onions. Okay, so the veggies have had about 5 minutes, and if you just push the veggies to one side, let's introduce the meat. So in with the pork first. Normally my favorite cut is minced shoulder of pork, and then beef. Then we break up the meat, let the water and moisture cook away, and then we'll get color on that minced meat. So there you go, lovely people. We've had a nice 10 minutes of frying, a nice little seasoning of salt. I'm gonna be quite generous with pepper, and then a lovely old school spice, nutmeg. So you wanna grate in about half a nutmeg. So at this stage in the game, we're gonna go in with 2 glasses of red wine, small glasses. So we go in with the lentils. You will never tell the difference between the lentil and the meat, right? It becomes like one. So the lentils have gone in, then some nice, big, fat plum tomatoes. Fill up your tins with water and pour this in like that, right? We're gonna let that sit for about an hour and a half. So look, the ragu has been blipping away beautifully for about an hour and a half, and it's gonna carry on cooking for a little bit. I'm gonna make a white sauce. I'm gonna put 50 grams of butter in a pan. I wanna take it up a little bit. So I've got a lovely leek here. The flavor that you get from leeks is so beautiful. So in the sizzling butter. Now I'm gonna go in with 4 medium heat tablespoons of flour, stir that in, and then in with a litre of milk. So that'll come to the boil, and then I'm simply gonna blend it until it's smooth. I'm gonna angle the pan like this, get it deep in there. The great thing about that is it will amplify the flavour as well as give you that lovely silky consistency. So look, in here, we're gonna get cheese happening. So of course cheddar cheese is not traditional in an Italian sense. I actually tend to use cheddar when I make my lasagnas, regardless, just because I like it. So a bit of Parmesan goes in now, and then the curveball, the smoked mozzarella. You can get it in the supermarkets. Have a look for it, it's there. Don't overuse it, you know, be subtle with it. Look at that, guys, come on. Oh, come on! So look how gorgeous, gooey and stringy that white sauce is. It's gonna be amazing. So now is the time to build our lasagna. So at this point in time, what I do is just look at my ragu, and because it's been cooking down, and because everyone's pans are a little bit different, you might just want to add a little bit of water so it's kind of not too dry, okay? So first up, we'll take 2 nice ladles of our ragu into here. Take our little bits of pasta. I prefer to use the fresh ones. Then we go in with a little bit of the white sauce. And keep repeating until you run out of ingredients. So look, this is the last bit of white sauce, and then we'll finish it with a last little kiss of cheese. And that, my friends, is gonna be an amazing lasagna. So in the oven it's gonna go for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and that will be a fine dinner for a bunch of fine people. So let's cook it. So good. Come on, have a look at this. So there you go. It's just cooked in to the most beautiful thing. Normally I would let this sit for 5-10 minutes just to let the pasta sort of relax, and then you get a nicer little slice, but I can't be bothered to wait, I'm too excited. Come on, you can do this, you can do this. Oh, yes, yes, yes. proper lasagna. So, we can sit here romanticising and talking all day, or we can get some knives and forks and get stuck in. I like the ratio between the pasta and the ragu. It's hot, but it's well good. The white sauce, oozy, stringy, but full of flavour. More flavour than a normal white sauce. Give it a go. So guys, what are you waiting for? Get the recipe, get shopping, get cooking, and enjoy a humble, delicious, comforting lasagna. Go for it, get stuck in. I'm gonna show you how to make an absolutely delicious one-pan veggie lasagna. It's delicious, it's full of colour and vibrance. We're gonna be bigging up some beautiful veggies, lovely sweet leeks with butter. We've got asparagus. We're gonna use frozen veggies, because I love frozen veggies, broad beans and peas, which are really easy to get hold of. And the method is really simple. I've stripped it right down so that you can make it all in one pan. There's only one thing to wash up. We get it in that oven, and in about 40 minutes, you have got something that you're absolutely gonna love. So let's talk about it. First up, we're gonna slice up a leek. So what I do is I strip the outer leaf off like this, just get the knife and just run it down like that. So what I wanna do is just show you a way to clean these efficiently. We wash it away from the root, water going down, right? So over to the sink, give it a little bit of a wash, finely slice the green part, and then as we get to the white part of the leek, then we're gonna go from finely sliced to little slices like that, right? Why? Because it's more kind of chunky and substantial. I wanna do it in a pan, like a casserole style pan, sort of low-sided. I'm gonna go in with a knob of butter and then a nice drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. I'm then gonna go in with the leeks. We're gonna sweat off those lovely leeks for about 10 minutes. So we've got fresh asparagus. Also, I'm gonna big it up with frozen veggies. So I've got some frozen peas and some frozen broad beans. With the asparagus, I'll pretty much always just trim off the edge of the asparagus, and I nearly always turn that into a soup or a sauce. Right, then with this part of the asparagus, the stalks, just finely slice it like that. What I like to do is save the tips to put in at the last moment. So in we go with the stalks, and we're gonna cook that down so it's really nice and soft. So in here, I'm gonna add a nice pinch of salt, a nice pinch of pepper, and we'll just let this simmer away. You can add a little swig of water to create a little bit of humidity in the pan. So look, let that sweat off now for about 10 minutes until sweet, soft, and delicious, and then I'll show you what to do next. So look, this has had about 10 minutes now. So traditionally you'd make a bechamel, but that's another pan or two, right, to wash up and deal with. But actually we can do it all in the pan. I'm gonna put the flour into this pan. So 2 tables or 50 grams of plain flour goes in. I'm also gonna put 2 teaspoons of English mustard in, then stir it in. 800 mils of milk, scrape the bottom of the pan. As that comes up to the boil, let's talk about frozen veg. Maybe something you haven't got is broad beans. 300 grams of that we're gonna use. Then put 300 grams of frozen peas, move it around. Let's get that just simmering for 5 minutes. While that's happening, let me show you the herb in question, mint. Half a bunch of mint, and literally all I do is just rip off those top mint leaves. I'll use that for other things. And I'm just going to fairly roughly chop the mint. It's gonna taste absolutely amazing. So stir that in. Okay, so I am going to be not traditional again by using Parmesan, because I love it, and that is traditional, but I'm using some cheddar. Cheddar's an amazing cheese. It's full of flavour, and it melts and oozes in the most beautiful way. So 80 grams of cheddar, and I'm gonna do the same with Parmesan. So get yourself a little potato masher, and just mash it. Just put your weight onto it, and you can feel the broad beans and peas popping. A little bit of love. Then I'm gonna go in with most of the cheese, right? Not all of it, most of it. And the asparagus tips, right? And then the curveball, of course, is the pasta. So the key here is using fresh lasagna sheets. It's brilliant. You can get it in all the supermarkets, and the fact that it's fresh means it cooks very quickly, and it's really elegant, silky, and very kind of luxurious. So I'm literally going to grab it like a pack of cards and tear it. And then all I'm going to do, right, is just dish out the lasagna cards around and then just stir it through. This will be absolutely like a lasagna when you serve this at the table, right? We are not mucking about, we're just getting on with it. So there we go, another little layer. So this will serve 6 people really nicely. So I think this is a really lovely meal for any day of the week, actually. So look, all I do now, because we're done, is turn the heat off. And what I like to do, you know, just to be aesthetic, is kind of have a nice layer of pasta on the top. And then the last little flourish of love and care is just a little cheese, so you get those lovely crispy bits. So the last ingredient for a little flourish of texture, flavour and nutrition is almonds. A nice little handful of almonds. And what I love to do is just bash them up. Have some fine, have some whole, have some cracked, and then I'll literally just let that snow down on our lovely lasagna here. Almonds, a little kiss of olive oil, and then if you want to, as an optional extra, get yourself a lemon and just a little bit of the zest, just a tiny bit, right? Not the juice, just the zest, will just give you a perfume and a lightness that cuts through. So that's it. That is my 1-pan veggie lasagna. That's now going to go in the oven for 25 minutes. That's all, 25 minutes, that's it. It'll be crispy, gnarly, blippy, gorgeous, comforting, and the temperature is at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. So in it goes. Right, little clean down, and yes, little clean down, because it's just 1 pan, and then we'll serve. So the lasagna has had 25 minutes. It's looking and smelling amazing. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. Imagine that on the dinner table. Absolute bliss. Absolutely beautiful. One of the things that you can do, which is a little bit of an optional extra, is put a little bit of pesto on the top, just little tiny bombs of it. And of course you can make your own pesto, or if actually you go down the supermarket, you might see some geezer. You might not have seen him before. We don't want to use loads of it, but little bombs of pesto, as you start serving this, just mix up with the lovely creamy hot white sauce. Just a little bit goes a long way. So look, let's get our plates. Let's serve up. Let's portion a little bit up. What I like is you still get crispy bits from the lasagna like that. And, you know, you get the veggies, but you also get the lovely creamy sauce, which is absolutely beautiful. So this will serve easily 6 people. Can you see the crispy bits at the side? Look at that. Stodgy, crispy, juicy. Maybe just a little bit of parmesan on top. And that, my friends, is a beautiful 1-pan veggie lasagna. Right, let's have a little try. Wow, yum, yum, triple yum, so good. Crispy enough, soft enough, stodgy enough, cheesy enough, crunchy enough. Come on. Is the most beautiful tray bake. It's so quick. When I came up with this, I was time poor. My family wanted something a little bit exciting, spicy, and all of it can happen in this tray. Get it in the oven, let the oven do the work, and then as a little kicker, I'm gonna show you a beautiful homemade quick bread, the quickest, delicious bread ever. So, so good. So we're gonna get this tray, we're gonna turn this into a frying pan. The first thing we do is give it a little kiss of olive oil. Get that on a medium-high heat. Now the chicken is free range, so let's get going. I've got 4 lovely thighs right here, my favorite cut. So season the chicken up with salt and pepper, give that a nice little rub around, and then get that in the hot oil. Skin side down, we want to start rendering that fat because we want to get it crispy, but also that chicken fat is full of flavour. This is for 4 people. If you wanted to do it for 8 or 12, this is a great recipe for scaling up. Easy peasy, great for parties and stuff like that. So as the skin gets crispy, let's start prepping the garlic. I want 8 cloves, and this is not going to be strong. because the way I'm going to cook this, it's going to be creamy and mild and very fragrant. So the reason I love this recipe is because from start to finish, the flow is just brilliant. It's got that really nice kind of simple path to getting it in the oven and creating incredible texture and flavour. Then we go on to the chilies. 2 lovely green chilies. Cut it in half and use the tip of the knife just to remove those seeds. So we've removed most of the aggressive heat. Get the old skin blistering. So once it's got nice and sizzling, let's turn the chicken over. Come on, we've already got good colour here. Then we're going to go in with the jalfrezi paste. Now, you can get the jalfrezi paste everywhere. For me, I think this is a really exciting paste because it's all done for you. In here, you've got a whole bunch of beautiful spices. Coriander, we've got paprika, cardamom, tamarind. And I love tamarind, that lovely sweet and sour flavour. So just move this around in the chicken fat and it'll cling to the chicken. Now it's smelling incredible and it's going to get better. Next up, bay leaves. Of course, if you can't get bay leaves, don't stress. You could use rosemary if you wanted to, no worries at all. We're going in with 8 big leaves. Go for it. And then peppers, right? Just get it, put your thumb in the little stalky part here, push it through, and then you can get rid of the seeds and I can tear the pepper into like little quarters. And look, peppers is something that I buy every single week, like most people. And often, I don't know why, they're left to the end of the week, which is kind of nice because they're getting nice and ripe. But in a dish like this, you're just amplifying the sweetness of the peppers. And with the bay and the spice and the chicken, it's so, so good. So now let's just take a little curveball. A secret ingredient, got some onion marmalade here. You can get it in all the supermarkets. So instead of using a fresh onion and chopping it up, we're going to go in with the onion marmalade because it's got seasoning in there, vinegar, sugar. About 2 tablespoons we put in. And often you'd have that with a cheese platter or something like that. And you know what? You don't have to just use it for those sort of things. You can use it in cooking. And then last but not least, 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Oh, I can smell it. It's unbelievable. So what we're creating here, guys, is not a curry with gravy. This is what you would describe as a dry curry. Not dry meat, it's going to be the opposite, succulent meat. But dry as in sort of sticky peppers around it and garlic and all of that sort of lovely stuff. Mix it all up. So look, that's it. Look at the colours, come on. I guarantee you and I promise you, epic flavour here. So now we just whack this in the oven for about 40 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. I'm putting that in my wood oven, a regular oven, absolutely perfect. Beautiful. Now, just let the oven do the work. So the tray bake is looking very good. That's nearly there. And I'm thinking what to serve with it, rice or bread? And my guys love a bread. I've got the best little trick, this little tweak to make like a naan-style bread. You know, crispy, fluffy texture, and I'm gonna make it and cook it in a little 26 centimetre pan. So look, I'm gonna take a regular mug of self-raising flour, fill it up to the top. So 2 of these go in, and then I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of English mustard. It's got that colour, and it's got that very subtle heat. And then 2 pinches of sea salt. And then we'll take some water and a fork, and we'll just make the simplest little flatbread ever. What I want to get from this bread is flavour. I want fluffiness to kind of mop up those juices in the bottom of the tray. And I want crispiness. In literally 2 minutes, you can add just enough water to make a basic dough. Look at the colour from the mustard. It's the easiest flatbread recipe ever. And just bring that to a dough. And you know, it's got to be not sticky, but pliable and elastic. So just give it a little knead. And actually what you can do is use the bread to clean out that pan. This we're going to cook it in, and then just kind of finish moving that around until you're happy. And that's it. Lovely dough, ready and raring to go. So the beauty of this bread is you don't really have to rest it, right? All I need to do now is put a little flour on a board, and I want to roll it out to be nice and thin. Grab a rolling pin or something like that and just roll it out. And your job is to make basically something the size of like a tea towel. And it doesn't matter if it's a bit wonky. If you make a hole, then patch it. Basically what we want is a sheet, right? Like that. Super simple. And look, there'll be thin bits and fatter bits. I really don't care. What we're gonna do is create texture. So I want layers. So I need to make those layers. And the way to do that is by using fat. Now it could be butter, it could be coconut oil, right? But what we wanna do is rub that oil quite generously over this lovely mustard bread. And once you've done that, then we can start rolling. So almost like a croissant, we're creating a barrier between fat and dough. And when that cooks, it expands. So you're gonna get lift and crispiness. And once you've rolled it up like that, then we'll get a little bit more oil. And then we'll roll it the other way, like a snail, right? So we're doing double lamination. And when I cook this bread, even though we got the self-raising flour, which will expand anyway, as it cooks, the oil's gonna go out like that, and then out like that, right? So you're gonna get double layering. So just push it out with your hand, and then get your rolling pin and just gently, gently roll it out. So for the simplest, most humble bread, actually it's got complexity in texture. And I know for a fact that my missus and the kids absolutely love it. In actual fact, they always request it. So once it's about the same size as the pan, let's get this nice and hot. Let's take this bread and place it straight in there. A nice, dry, non-stick frying pan. And I reckon on a medium-high heat, about 3 to 4 minutes on each side should be about perfect. We're gonna turn it out now. The top's cold, and look at that. Sizzling, gnarly, court. You can see the little waves of texture. Then into the pan, another 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and that'll be good to go. So bread is done, absolutely beautiful. So give it a nice little oil and just kind of rub that in. And this is one of the few breads where you're actually told to break it, to beat it up before you even eat it. So get your 2 hands together. This is hot, so you know, go quick. And then look inside, I can smell the mustard, wow. And then look inside there, can you see all the little folds and all those little layers that you built up? You can now basically dismantle that and they become little edible spoons. And if I show you in the tray, come on, look at the colours. Big flavours, minimal effort. And then all I would do now is just kiss a few little dots of yogurt in and around here. Can you see what happens when you shake it? And it just starts to ripple. Right, bread, bit of lemon juice on the salad. And for me, that is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Very little effort and massive flavour in return. Right, time to plate up. Very excited about all of this. Let's go for a nice chunky bit of chicken there, look at that. Let's get those lovely peppers, look at the colour. And the juices are just ridiculous. Stickiness from that amazing onion marmalade. Big flavour in very little time. Wowzers. Let's have a chilli. No, I've got a chilli. Let's have a bit of garlic. Oh, I've got 2 bits of garlic. Sorry, I'm getting too excited. And then the bread. So if I just pull off like a big wodge of this, can you see all the little twists? And that means I can kind of get in there with like this edible spoon and get all those juices. Yes. It's the most brilliant quick bread ever. And that is good to go. That is me very, very happy. Right, time for a little taste. First test is the chicken tender. Oh yeah, look, that meat's succulent. Crispy skin, little bit of pepper. Yeah, man. Mmm. Sweet and sour, spice, complexity. The bay leaves and the vinegar just do like this magic thing with all the kind of rendered chicken fat. It is just scrumptious. And then when it comes to this bread, I like how you just kind of like, you just unwind it and then clean the plate. The chicken, it's a one-tray dish. The oven does most of the work, but you're left with these big, bold, delicious flavors. I just love it. I'm gonna do a really delicious chicken tray bake. Dead simple. I'm using a thigh of chicken, by far tastier than boring dry old breasts. Loads of flavor as long as you cook it right. And I'm gonna show you how to take the bone out. First of all, just run your knife down that bone, just like that. 1, 2, and then you can just pop your knife under here and just run it out like that. And then with this bit, scrape it almost off. Now you've got the bone off, throw that away, and then do nice double finger sized pieces, just like that. So once you've got your chicken, pick it up, take it over here, put it straight into the pan, skin side down, and that will naturally start frying the fat out of the skin. Just season that chicken with just a little bit of salt now. You know, you need to cook with a little bit of seasoning. Give it a toss around. Lovely. Got some nice new potatoes there, and I've got some tomatoes. Now I'm going to do a potato and tomato sort of roasted tray bake really with the chicken. And I've got some beautiful little tomatoes. I've got some like long little plums, dark ones, red ones, sort of tiger ones, little sort of pear ones, you know, your typical sort of cherry ones. And all I like to do is just put these tomatoes here, like that, get myself a little knife. The only knife I've got is that one. So what I want to do is get a knife and just get the tomato and just pop it, just like that. And by tapping them like this, we're going to pop them in boiling water, and that little cut will make sure the skin just comes straight off, and that's easy, we like that. So put them in here, into here, and my new potatoes are boiling and they're cooked. Pour my tomatoes in there, lid on. So once you've done that, I need my cloth. Let's give this chicken a nice little toss. Have a look in here. Nearly there. Sort of 45 seconds, that's literally all you need in boiling water with the tomatoes. Tomato skins look pretty good. Just drain it in a colander. Lovely, look at that. So, nice position to be in here. It's all steaming, really hot. That's going to steam dry now. So look, I'm going to get my tomato, and literally all you have to do is just pinch that skin off. It's so simple, and it doesn't give you any grief at all. And by taking it off, what you allow this to do is the tomato to dehydrate and become sort of like sweet and much more intensified, and for the flavour and sort of bit of the juice from the tomato to cook into the potato, which is going to be like rock and roll. I'm going to lay it out on this board here, all right? Clean table. This is what I'm going to do. With my potatoes, I want to get my thumb and I'm going to just break them like that. Like that, crush them. You can push that in half, break that, break that, break that, break those. If you've got a little whole one like that, leave it whole. Push that. I mean, you know, this is a little bit of a palaver, but it will take me 1 minute to do it, and you know what? The whole dish will taste 10 times better for it. And sometimes in cooking, you know what? It's not always bish bash bosh. You need to put a bit of love in it, a bit of care, and it will taste fantastic. Right, so that looks like I've made a right dog's dinner of that, doesn't it? Look at the table, it looks like a total mess. But you've got to bear with me and see what I'm going to do. I want to get my flavour shaker. You could use a food processor, or you could use a pestle and mortar. Get oregano or marjoram. Of course you could use rosemary instead, but I think oregano and tomatoes, really good combo. Nice little handful into the flavour shaker. Nice pinch of salt. Lock it up. I want to smash the oregano. I want to get all the oils out of it, and I want to make the most butt-kicking flavoured oil. Because the thing is, when it comes to things like flavour, you can't sort of chop it up and be all nice about it. You have to bash it up. You have to make a bit of a noise. And all I have to do now, you can see that it's smashed up all of the herb. Really bruised it, really smashed it. And if you smell it, it's like incredible. So what I want to do to that is get some oil on that, extra virgin olive oil, top it up about 3/4, and then I'm going to put a little hit of vinegar in there, so not quite as much as the dressing, some pepper, and then close it up one last time, and this is going to make the most beautiful flavoured oil. Let's have a look in here. See that? So you've got like a beautiful green oil. Now, get our chicken. And you see in the chicken here, pull all of this into the pan, like this. That much. I'm going to get some more oregano to put in whole on top. And I want that lovely oregano oil. It's really nice to cook it in this, or, you know, if you want to serve it at the table, you know, you could pour it into a dish like this. And when that cooks together, that'll be one of the nicest dinners you've had in a long, long time. So that's done. Notice it's all in one layer, so it's all going to cook beautifully into one another. It's going to get lovely and golden, and the chicken's going to go sticky. That is a lovely dinner. I'll put that in the oven for about 35-40 minutes, 180, 200 degrees, until it's lovely and golden. Serve that with a green salad, bottle of wine. Happy days. Yay! Look at that. Just look at that. You know, in the middle of the table, on a dish. Look at that. Oh, come on, that's so nice. And this is the sort of food that I love, love, love to eat. Everything just mixing together. So nice. All I do to finish that is a little bit of lemon and oil on some rocket. Just a bit. Pinch of salt. And look at that. You can either do two things. You can either just get a nice handful and literally put it across the dish at the table like that. Brilliant little dinner. Or just have a big bowl separately and just serve that like that. Fan-dabby-dozy. I love it. I love that kind of cooking.
Hi, it's Jules here. Today I'm going to make a really nice, chunky, I'm not going to say winter because it can be used at any season, really nice, hearty, warm vegetable bean soup, which actually I do for my children every week, or not necessarily this one, but I kind of vary up the soups weekly, and my husband loves it, thank God. It's such a good soup. I've got 2 leeks, they look like 4, but they've been cut into 2, washed. And a good tip from Jamie, this is what he told me to do, is to wash downwards so you get all the dirt out and use it like a bit like a little river. So this will probably feed about 4 to 6. So just chop. You can do smaller if you prefer, but my children quite like a bit of chunk. So we're not really smooth soup family, so I have to do it like this. 2 sticks of celery, washed. 3 carrots, which I'm just going to chop. And 2 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced. You could always use a garlic crusher if you fancy. So that's all my veg done. So I'm just going to do some bacon. I've got just 2 rashers. Just chop that. You don't have to use bacon, but it does add a really nice flavour. And if you were doing this for a baby, obviously you wouldn't be doing the seasoning and you wouldn't use the bacon. So you can just take that out and just have a really nice vegetable soup and then blend it. So now I'm going to start cooking. Just put my really mad oven on. A log of olive oil. First I'm going to do the bacon with some rosemary. Just a sprig of rosemary is all you need. It gets all the strong flavours going. So now I can hear the sizzle. That's when you know all the flavours are coming out the rosemary and they're all kind of intermingling together. You can smell it now, it's so delicious. So this should take about a couple of minutes, just so it goes nice and brown. Right, it's definitely brown and crispy, so I'm going to add all the veg. You know it's going to be great for children, and it is one way of getting everything in all at once. And I always feel so good when I see they've eaten this. I feel like it's been a really healthy dinner. And just mix it around. You need to do about 10 to 15 minutes, just to make sure the leeks get really sweet, nice and soft and tender. I'm going to put the lid on, sweat them down, and leave it for 10 to 15 minutes to get on with all the jobs. So I reckon this is done. They look, yeah, they look really nice and they smell pretty good as well, so they're definitely ready. Now I'm going to add blotty beans, but you can actually use any canned beans you like. My children like these, so that's quite nice. Well, normally when I do this, it's normally ballet day or athletics day, so I really worry they've got enough energy to kind of do what they have to do, and those beans will definitely help that. So I'm going to add my stock. You can do chicken or veg, and I've got a litre of stock there. Also to make it a bit quicker, I use a hot stock so it keeps everything going and boiling at the same time. Put it back to simmer for about half an hour. I reckon this is done now. Yeah, it looks nice and soft. I'm going to add a handful of frozen peas and then 2 handfuls of kale. The girls like kale, but you can do spinach or courgettes or anything that doesn't need a lot of cooking time, so it stays really nice, bright and green. So I'll just mix it in, put the lid on for a couple of minutes, and then prepare the bowls, and we're ready. And because actually this soup hasn't got really much carbohydrates in, so I sometimes add pasta or I've got some bread here. We could even add potatoes, sweet potatoes, just to get that bit more chunkier feeling. I do especially for my children because if they've been busy at school, I think it's kind of quite healthy to do that. There we go, some nice hunks of bread, which they really like. So that's my carb. So you can see the leeks are sweated off. I can smell actually all the lovely smells of the bacon and the rosemary, and the fresh greens are giving it a really nice kind of fresh feel, and they're not too overcooked at all, so they'll be nice and crunchy still. And the stock's all reduced there. I'm just going to portion it up. So I've got one for Buds and one for myself because it's such a good soup and it's really quick. Actually, I normally cook my soup the day before, but if you're going to do a good batch and freeze it, perhaps don't add the green vegetables like the kale or the courgette because it'll keep its vibrancy. If you defrost it, put it on the hob, then just the same as you did before, add the greens at the end, and then they're really fresh and lovely and they kind of keep the crunch. There you go, guys. It's all done, my lovely, chunky, hearty soup. And please enjoy it. Well, I hope you enjoy it and give it a go, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Which bit do you want to try?
Right, I'm going to make one of the most incredible soups ever. And we've got a whole head of Savoy cabbage there. We've got a big handful of cavolo nero and a big handful of red and green curly kale. And I've cooked that in 2 litres of chicken stock, but you could do veggie stock if you want. So that's been boiling for about 5 minutes. And then bigging up Mr. Bread, stale bread, just grilled on a griddle pan, or you could even roast it in the oven if you wanted to. A whole load, big stack of the bread like that. And when you get your bread like this, while it's hot, just get a piece of garlic and give it 2 rubs, and you'd be amazed at how much flavour that transmits. But there's a perfume of garlic there, which is lovely. I've got a tray in the oven, but what I want to do, get my tray here. I'm going to get 1 tin of about 14 anchovy fillets. Pour the oil in here first. Then I want about 12 rashers of nice pancetta. So just lay it in here. Normally I do this on a gas hob, but I'm outside. So I'm going to cover this tray with the bacon, and I'm going to put it back in the oven just to render and go crispy. But before I do that, these anchovy fillets here, oh, be careful when you take these off. Shake them out there. Just put the anchovies out and about, finding things out. And let's roast these babies up. Pop it back in the oven. Now, over here, I've got 2 cheeses. Fontina, which is a wonderful cheese. It's quite mild in flavour, but it has the most incredible melting qualities. It's all stringy and light and incredible. And then I've got good old Parmesan there, just for good flavour. I want 200 grams of Fontina, about 150 grams of Parmesan. Get this out of the way. And then, check this, you can hear it sizzling. Look at that. No time at all. Just have a look at it. You can see the anchovies have totally melted into nothing. The bacon's nice and crisp. At this point, get your greens straight in there. Now, I'm just literally coating it in all this lovely gear. Even if you're just serving this as a, veg dish, this is a fantastic way to do it. I'm cooking this in a casserole type pan, something of that ilk and that size. Get 4 bits or enough stale toasted bread to cover the bottom. And then we go nice mixture of greens here. And we've got one whole Savoy cabbage, and we've got cavolo nero, and we've got some kale, purple and green, and then we put our cheese. And then I put a nice bit, sprinkling of the fontina, and a sprinkling of the parmesan. And this is a great opportunity to have a little drizzly up of quality extra virgin olive oil. All right, so that goes there. A bit more bread on top. So it's like a lasagna, but instead of using pasta and mincemeat, you know, we're using nice garlic rub bread. Again, Savoy cabbage, in and around. You can chop this cabbage up if you want, but the way I've had it has always been quite crude. Fontina, and a sprinkling of the parmesan. And then we go more bread, cabbage, you can tear it up a bit if you want to. Cheese, let's have a little bit more fontina. Parmesan, here we go, last one on top. I'm going to use untoasted bread for this part. You can kind of push down on it like this, give it a bit of pressure. Okay, let's taste the stock. Give it a stir. It's gone a bit dark because you cooked the cabbage in it, but at least it's got the flavour. Pour this in there. There you go. And then what I'll do, just a tiny bit of cheese. There we go. A final bit of parmesan. And then good lug of extra virgin olive oil. Nice sprinkling of pepper. At this point, if you want, you can just push this all into each other. Right, and as that cooks, that's going to cook for about 40 minutes at about 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. And what will happen is it'll go crunchy and golden on top, and then the water will just sort of suck into all the bread and the flavours are all mixed up and it'll be delicious. So I'm just going to put that at the back of the oven, give it about 40 minutes. Just look at that, fantastic. And you can see it's like a cross between like a bread and butter pudding and a French onion soup. Most of that water's cooked into the bread now. It's at about 35, 40 minutes. And if it gets too much colour, you know, you can put a bit of tinfoil over the top, but look at that. Absolutely lovely. So put that there. Right, so one of the classic things to go with this is a sage butter. So I'm just going to get a nice big knob of butter straight in there. And then straight in with some sage leaves. Just take the leaves off. And you want to melt that butter. Just toss the sage in there. I'm going to put it straight back in the oven. That will take 30 seconds, 40 seconds to make that raw sage leaf go to being like snappy crisp and really meaty in flavour. Now let's plate these little darlings up. Don't go think this is going to be some kind of creamy soup or brothy soup. Don't go there. This is a bread soup. This is an Italian soup with attitude. I'm literally going to take a nice big clunk of this. Look at that. Beautiful. Get some of this. Lovely dark colour. A bit more. Check the sage. All right, and then all you do, you know, while the butter's nice and brown, but not dark, not black, just put the sage leaves around, a little bit of that butter, and a little grating of parmesan. And that's it. This could be a new family favourite in your home because it is in mine. I've been playing around and I've created a sausage and mash pie. Yes, a pie. So that's basically potato around the edges and the side. Then this creamy, gorgeous, sausagey stew, potato on top, stabbed bits of sausage on the top of that, in the oven, golden and crisp. And of course, the point of making a pie, encasing something, is that whatever you trap is going to kind of help all those flavours bounce around and make it even more tasty. So first job, in a pan, a little bit of olive oil, and on a kind of medium heat, get those lovely sausages in there. A nice, good quality sausage. I've also tested this with veggie sausages as well, so happy days. Just give them a little love. And I want these to be golden all the way around. As that's happening, I want to really amp up the beautiful flavour of those sausages, but also stretch a little bit a long way. So we're going to make the most delicious casserole to put inside this pie. We're going to use leeks, and they're going to go creamy and buttery and delicious, but also curveball apple. I've got a red apple and a green apple. It's quite nice, actually, to mix the apples because they do taste very different when you cook them. Peel these, and the thinking that I had was pork and apples, best friends. In the last few months, I have been just mucking around with basic ingredients: sausage, apples, potatoes. How can we kind of reinvent it and just make it a different experience? Just having fun with food, that's what it's all about, right? So, chunk these up into sort of roughly centimetre chunks. Get rid of the core. And then, as these sausages are getting nice and brown, see all that lovely fat? We're going to get our apple straight into that, and we want a little bit of colour on those apples. Imagine that. Yes. Now, my missus doesn't like onions, so I use leeks a lot. And when you cook them in the way I'm going to do it, you get the most incredible, buttery, creamy sauce. So, put the tip of your knife in and go all the way down the length of the leek. And as it grows, sometimes there's a little bit of mud in here. It's pretty common. Look, you can see it there, look, see? Right, so we'll just go and wash that out. Now, when you wash it out, don't wash it towards the stalk because you're just pushing the dirt into it deeper. Right, always wash it out. Roughly slice it up to be the same size as the apple. I'm looking at that sausage now. It's got a nice colour. So just take the sausage out now. And the leeks all go in. Just give it a little swig of water, just to stop that frying process. A little pinch of salt and a little pinch of pepper. And now turn that down to like a medium heat. 20 minutes with a lid on, and those leeks will go really tender, buttery and sweet. The next job is the mashed potatoes. Over here, I've got 1.2 kilos of Maris Piper potatoes, peeled and boiled and drained. If you look at recipes for shepherd's pie, cottage pie, the really old ones would have potatoes not just on the top, but on the sides and bottom. I like that, so I'm kind of playing with this. Just 2 tablespoons of flour into your boiled potatoes. You give it a whole load more structure. So then you can do more than just mash. You can start using it almost like a pastry. So I'll season it up just like I would a normal mashed potato, salt and pepper. If you want to put butter in, you can. Mash this together. Then we need to divide it into 1/3 for the top and 2/3 for the bottom and the sides. But look, by adding that flour, can you see how it's more malleable now, right? So we can turn it into shapes. This bit I will put over here with my sausage. And then this 2/3 here, I'll put in that tray. Now, we want this to go crispy and gnarly and gorgeous. And for that, a little kiss of oil and give it a little rub up around the sides. In we go with the potato. And then very simply, just use your hands to just pat it out, almost like a type of pastry. Roughly about 1 centimetre thick. And then as you get to the sides, up we go. And of course, this little technique you can use for any stew. If you've got lamb stew, beef stew, you know, whatever stew you want, you can do this. It's a cute little tip. Super easy, super rustic. The leeks, once they've had about 20 minutes and they're really tender, smells amazing already, we're gonna kind of amp this up now. We're gonna go in with 3 teaspoons of English mustard. Right, that won't be hot, by the way. It'll just give it a nice, big, sort of bold flavour. Then we're going to go in with flour again, just a couple of tablespoons, and that will be the thickening agent for this sauce. A little thyme, just pick that off the stalk. And if you haven't got time, any nice fragrant herb is lovely. Once the flour is all mixed in, add the milk. Nice whole milk, organic, about 600 millilitres. Slowly stir that in. And now go in with the sausages, but not all the sausage. Let's save one of those back. Slice these into 1 centimetre slices. And what's great about this recipe is you're taking a few sausages a long way. So this will feed 4 people very generously. Really, really nice. Look how lovely and creamy that is. The lovely caramelised apples in there, the mustard, just all swapping flavours. So let that simmer for 5 minutes, and let's think about the topping. Get a little bit of greaseproof paper, put a bit of oil on here, rub it, and then I'll take this potato and press it down again and again and again. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Just push it out like that. It's about 1 centimetre thick. You want it to be slightly bigger than this tray. Go in with that amazing sweet leek, caramelised apple and sausage casserole. Look at that, come on. Then simply pick up your greaseproof paper, flap it over the top like that, and then unpeel it. If you've got any holes or if it ripped, please do not stress. It's very, very forgiving. We want to seal it to kind of trap all that lovely goodness. So get yourself a fork and your flour. Just dip it in the flour to stop it sticking to your fork. And that just seals it nicely. It makes it feel kind of like the kind of dinners that my nan used to make. Nice memories. Just as if it was pastry, get a knife and kind of cut down like that. In my family, everyone fights over the crispy edge. Now there is 1 sausage left. So slice this up, and then I'm going to push this into the most beautiful potato. These will get nice and golden and crispy. Last but not least, I want to take some time, put a little oil on a board, and I'll just dab it in and around like that. And yes, it will flavour it, but that will also make the potatoes really, really golden and crispy. That's it. Now that will go in the oven for 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. My tip for you, if you want a crispy bottom, which I highly recommend, is put this at the bottom of your oven, and then about 5 minutes before the end, I'll put some of that thyme on top just to crispen up, and it will look the business. Oh, look at that. Kids, lunchtime. Oh, yes. Sausage and mash taken to another level. Sizzling, golden, gorgeousness. That is a beautiful thing. So look, I'm just gonna have a little portion for myself. Let's just get in there. Come on. Chunks of sausage, creamy, leaky sauce. I've got some greens and some peas. I love a bit of mustard as well on the side. Let's just get in it. Have a little try. Love the crispy bit on the edge. The leeks are amazing. They're so sweet and creamy. And then every now and again you get that hit of the apple, which with the pork sausage is so good. Come on, what's not to love? Sausage and mash, but not as you know it. Gotta give that a try. Right, guys, you ready? So I've got the most beautiful chicken and mushroom pie. Absolute comfort food with a little bit of spring onion and mustard. Delicious. Get yourself a little knife. So these chicken breasts here, I'm gonna slice these into centimetre slices. I've got a little enamel metal tin. Whack it on to a high heat. Couple of lugs of olive oil in there. Get your chicken, put it into your olive oil. Of course, we want to hit that with some sea salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, knob of butter in the chicken. I've got some spring onions here. Slice up the spring onions, as best as you can. I'm not bothered. You know, the great thing about these 30-minute meals recipes, if you're rubbish with a knife, it's all right. If you're brilliant, it's all right. Don't matter. Get yourself a little box grater, the fine attachment, or one of these little graters, and you just want, you know, quarter of a nutmeg, 1 or 2 bay leaves. I'm just going to tear the stalk off of these bay leaves, and a little bit of thyme. And then we want mushrooms. I've got about 150 grams, or a kind of big handful of button mushrooms. You know, pick these bad boys up, get a slicer attachment on your processor, and put them in. You know what I mean? So, mushrooms go in. I'm going to now turn this into like a pie filling. 1 heaped tablespoon of creme fraiche. In at this point is a heaped teaspoon of flour, and then attitude, a heaped teaspoon of mustard. And then 1 of these little tubs of pre-done chicken stock, if you haven't got any of your own, of course, or a stock cube and a bit of water. This is about 300 mils of stock, and we just mix it up. And you've already got a beautiful, creamy sauce. So I'm going to turn it down to low, because I've got no rush now. I'm happy. Some puff pastry. Buy it, pre-done, and then you just put that pastry on here and tuck it into bed and fold the pastry sort of back in on itself. I want it to glaze and look beautiful. So you can use milk or 1 egg. Just lightly brush this pastry on top. Oh, looks very nice. Let's get a bit of rosemary, stick it right in there. Right, in the oven. That is cooked when it looks cooked. The pie, I can see, is done. Let's just move that over. Look at that. Beautiful. I want that for dinner. Down in my little recipe hut, I've got the perfect sharing dish to kick off our Friday night. I am so excited to give you a recipe for an amazing homemade pie. Beautiful crumbly pastry, chicken, sweet leeks, creamy sauce. This is going to be amazing. It starts here with a chicken. So a nice free-range chicken. What I want to do first is cut it in half. Just hold the chicken, get the tip cut down the back, and then down the breast. So in a pan, we'll have just a tiny bit of oil. So chicken goes into the pan. I'm using the whole chicken. You get maximum flavour from the bones and the bone marrow. But also, the joy of white meat, brown meat, and the sweet meat is incredible. So we've got a second pan on a medium heat. And what I want to do is start frying off a beautiful base to give you the best pie filling ever. For that, I'm going to start with some smoky bacon. Just cut ourselves some little lardons. So into the pan we go. Add a little oil. And that is an incredible welcoming party for vegetables and herbs. So we'll start off with thyme, to rip that in, and then base vegetables. 1 heart of celery, 1 onion, 1 carrot, and 1 leek. Roughly sliced into sort of 1.5 centimetre dice. Into the pan. I don't want the veg so small that it's going to disappear. I want to have chunks of veggies. So about 10-15 minutes of gentle frying. So that gives us time to clean down and make the pastry. Add 500 grams of plain flour to a bowl, a pinch of sea salt, and 250 grams of very cold butter. So by grating the butter like that, it just makes it so easy to rub into the flour. Pour in 100 millilitres of cold water and bring it together. And kind of hug it. No kneading, just hugging. That's what we want. And I'm going to just form it into 2 balls. Divide so it's 1/3 for the lid and 2/3 for the base. Wrap them up and flatten out and leave to chill in the fridge until needed. If you look in here now, we have a nice bit of colour. That means we've got mega flavour already. I want to turn this into a beautiful sauce to stew that chicken, right, to pull out all that flavour. I'm going to use scrumpy, beautiful cloudy cider. Just a nice little swig goes in. The smell is phenomenal. And we want to cook all of that cider away. Go in with a heaped teaspoon of English mustard, 2 heaped tablespoons of plain flour, a litre of chicken stock, and bring to a simmer. At this point in the story, we've created that stewing environment, and we're taking that lovely, crispy golden chicken, and those bones are straight down into that sauce. So lid on top, And just let it blip away for around about an hour until the thigh meat pulls off the bone, and that will be incredible. This fat in the pan, by the way, I'm going to keep that for a little secret later. So the chicken is done. If I just pull the thigh meat, and it should just fall off the bone. That's what we want. Super tender, super delicious, happy days. Oh. So, meat into here. I have been slicing up 500 grams of button mushrooms. By putting the mushrooms in at this stage, you get really sweet, nutty mushroom flavour. Stir that through. Okay, so now 2 forks and just pull that tender meat from the bone. At this point, the bones have done their job. They've given you awesome flavour. Carefully remove all the bones, add the chunks of chicken back to the stew, and mix through 2 tablespoons of creme fraiche. So I want this stew to do 2 things. Give me amazing, perfect filling, and then also an incredible sauce. And we can have both by one easy little trick that I love. Get yourself a pan, get yourself a colander, and sieve that filling. The sauce will go through it, and you can reheat that later to pour on top of your pie. Put that to one side, and now we can make our pie. So we'll get our pastry out of the fridge, and we'll roll this out so it's gonna line this beautiful pie dish. What I will do is just give a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the dish and give it a rub. Put your chilled pastry in between a sheet of greaseproof paper and roll it till it's ½ centimetre thick. Add to the pie dish, pour in the cooled filling, and roll out your pie lid. I don't care if it cracks. I embrace it. Look, I'm going to tear it. Oh no, there's a crack. It doesn't matter. We're going to just tear it up and put it in just like that. And as we take in the sides, we're going to create just a beautiful rustic pie. So just a little egg wash. So I'm going to cook that now for about an hour. Put it at the bottom of the oven. The temperature will be 190 degrees Celsius, which is 375 Fahrenheit, and that will be a thing of beauty. So that glorious pie is nearly done. And I've just knocked up a bit of mashed potato. You guys know how to do that, but what you might not know how to do is make cabbage beautiful. We're going to do something that's quick and delicious and amazing. Roughly slice up the cabbage and add to the chicken fat you saved earlier. Cook over a high heat until softened and lightly charred. Add a splash of water, a teaspoon of mustard, and a pinch of salt and white pepper. These 3 things bring out the most wonderful flavour. Just takes your everyday cabbage to another place. So cabbage is done. Our gravy is bubbling away and reheating nicely. And then, yes, that, my friends, is what I wanted. Look at that. Bubbling, blipping, look. Just so, so good. The hispy cabbage that is soft and succulent, but it's got the char. Good old mashed potato, always a good friend of a pie. Then we'll get a gravy boat. This poured over the top of your pie will be a joyful thing. Oh, look how flaky that pastry is. I'm very excited. Come on. Look at that, we've got the chunks of chicken, the flaky pastry. That is a slice of heaven. Let's have a dunk mash, some of that amazing cabbage done good, and then gravy. Let's get in there. Hallelujah. You know, using the whole chicken gives you the hyper flavour. Everyone deserves to enjoy a good homemade pie. Guys, what are you waiting for? Sunday roasts are a thing of absolute joy, so I've put a bundle together that I know you're gonna love. Hi guys, hope you're well. We're gonna make roast beef. People love it and I love it. It's a wonderful treat. I'm gonna show you how to prepare this, do the trivet, we're gonna cook it, we're gonna rest it, and we're gonna carve it, and it's gonna be absolutely amazing. I've got 3 cuts of beef here that are very, very common. I've got the top side of beef, that's the most affordable and it's leaner. We've got the sirloin of beef here. Now you know the sirloin steak, but this is a chunk to roast. It's easy to carve, quicker to cook, and it's always tender. and then roast 4 rib of beef. It'll easily serve 10 people, and the leftovers of all of this is amazing. So the preparation is the same for all 3 cuts. Top side of beef I'm gonna do. And what's really important is get your meat out of the fridge 1 hour before you wanna cook it. And that way it will stay juicier and more tender. Give it a little drizzle with some olive oil. Give it a nice little rub up. And then I wanna season it quite generously with salt and pepper. Rub it over and just roll the meat all over the seasoning. Put a little oil into a tray. Let's get that on a high heat. And first of all, I just want to get some color on this beef and start to sear it. Now what you'll notice is the top side is very lean. But if we look at the sirloin and the forerib, I wouldn't have to add oil to that. I would score the fat like this, and I will place it fat side down in a pan and render the beef fat. Once you feel you've got a little bit of color, get some tongs and turn it over. Now while this is browning off, I want to make a trivet and just clank up some celery, about half a celery, 1 onion, a whole bulb of garlic, and then 2 carrots just cut into big chunks. And then herb-wise, I love using a few bay leaves and some rosemary. All of this goes in. Now this trivet is going to do 2 things. First of all, it soaks up all the juices from the beef and it creates the basis for the most incredible gravy or jus to go with your roast beef. Secondly, you can see you put the beef on top, so that way it's not frying on the bottom of the tray. This top side of beef is going to go straight into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for an hour and a quarter. So for all the cooking times for the beef or any other cut of meat, then just click over to jamieoliver.com and I've got a whole load of stuff that will support you get it absolutely right every single time. So look at that, really beautiful. Let it rest for half an hour. If it's an even bigger cut of meat, let it go 40 minutes, 45 minutes. When you're roasting meats or even grilling meats, you know, that heat is pushing the moisture into the middle, right? So you need to let it rest just so the moisture comes back, right? So it's juicier and more tender, and it just lets it get to a better temperature. Have a look in this tray. All this love is gonna be the basis of your gravy. Put it onto a high heat, add some flour. A heaped tablespoon will go in, so we get a nice thick gravy. Then just squeeze all the beautiful garlic out of the skins. I can mush up the onions. I'm gonna use a little red wine, just a little half glass, goes in, roast beef, red wine. It makes sense, right? The smell is absolutely amazing. The little secret ingredient that I love is just some beautiful jam. That little sweetness really helps the gravy sing really, really nicely. About a litre of stock goes in. Bring this to the boil and then simmer this for about half an hour, the same time you rest the meat, and it's going to be delicious. In the half an hour that it's taken for the beef to rest, lots of beautiful things happen. If you see in our little platter here, you get juices that come out. You put those juices into your gravy. Pour that gravy through a coarse sieve. Look how gorgeous and thick and wonderful that gravy is. One little tip on the gravy, if you just pull it to the side of the gas hob, as it boils, it will push any kind of fatty bits or any scummy bits to one side, and you can get rid of that. And we've got lovely boiling gravy. Then let's talk about the meat. Now when it comes to the carving, you know, with a sirloin or a forerib, it's very, very tender. You know, with a top side, it will be tender, but it is a little bit leaner, so we want to go nice and fine. You need to invest in a nice, long carving knife. So get the carving knife and do nice, long strokes. Go as thin as you can. So you can see this beef is nice, juicy, and blushing. If you cook it 15 minutes less, you can go medium rare. This is medium. Look at that. What a joy. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, no roast is finished without roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings. This is the kind of food that just makes you so happy. I've got some horseradish sauce, which is one of my favourites. Beautiful. And then hot gravy, gorgeous, dark, rich gravy. So good. It's not right unless you fill up the Yorkshire pudding with gravy. Come on. So look at that, guys. The most incredible roast beef with all the trimmings. If you want the recipes for the Yorkshire puddings, the perfect roast potato, the horseradish, then go to jamieoliver.com where the recipes are and thousands more. There you go, guys. Fill your boots and get cooking. So lovely people, everyone knows how to roast a chicken, but I've got a method that takes it up 3 notches. Are you interested? Let's do this. Let's talk about the shopping. Chicken. This is a 100-day-old chicken. You'll easily serve 6 to 8 people beautifully. Slightly smaller. This is a label on glaze. It's been corn-fed a little bit. You can see the colour. We've got a little poussin here, right? Corn-fed again. And then here, we've got an organic chicken, delicious. So the one I'm going to do is a nice little label on glaze. First up, finely chop some herbs. I've got some marjoram here, parsley, basil, season with salt and pepper. Add a nice couple of lugs of olive oil. Mix it up. The oil will help bring out all the natural flavours and oils from the herbs. And then we're going to get our chicken. If you can get a dry plucked chicken, the skin is so crispy and it's delicious. What I want to do is just run my knife around the top of the legs and score that skin like that. And then just pop that little ball joint. Take the end of the chicken leg off, and when it cooks and roasts, it just looks beautiful. Put the chicken on its side, and I want this thigh meat to cook at the same rate and speed as the breast meat. So I'm simply just going to do 3 confident slices down to the bone. And it also allows your flavoured oil to get in there. With the breast, right, I want you to be very, very careful. Here is the end of the skin. I want you to pull it towards you so you don't tear it. And just get your finger in between the skin and the breast. Make a little pouch, and then I'll use a little spatula to get right down there. Divide these herbs by half. And again, I don't want to tear that chicken skin. Wonderful, look at that. Just get 2 slices of butter, and I'll ram these down the chicken breast. So that's gonna make your chicken breast juicier than ever. It's gonna make that skin crispier than ever. There's one other trick that I've got. Lemon. Now, if I put a cold lemon in there, the hot air is not gonna get in, and it's not gonna be kind of cooking as even as I'd like it. So we've got a hot lemon that I'm gonna just stab, and this is basically a boiling hot citrus time bomb. Now we're going to tie this bird up. Take a little bit of our butcher's string, get it in half, put it just under the legs like this, take it up to these little notches here, and I'm going to do a little knot. Tighten it up, go in between the breast and the legs, turn it over, you do another little knot, and it's just going to keep it in shape, and it means you get a nice, neat, even cook. With all the kind of remnants of the oil and the herbs, rub that all over the chicken, and it's really a spectacular thing. Into a tray we go, a whole bulb of garlic, 2 onions, cut those in half. I'm going to cook it at 225 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. It's going to be spectacular. Look at that. You know it makes sense. So good. The string holds it all together, but you know that chicken's done when you can pull the meat off the bone and when the juices run nice and brown. And if you look in here, you can just take the skins off these bits of onion. You're gonna have the best gravy. I'll put this heat on, add just a heaped tablespoon of flour, just mush it all up. You don't even need stock. Just top it up with some water, bring that to the boil. This, of course, is the time where you let the chicken rest. You finish your gravy, and that's when you bring your salads or your greens or your potatoes all together. So let's sieve out all of those chunks. Mega flavour. Take a little ladle and push it through. Look at that. Bring it back up to the boil, and you're gonna have an amazing gravy. Let's look at our lovely chicken. See how crispy that skin is, how the herbs are trapped. Really, really nice. Let's have a little carve up. First up, run the knife around the back of the leg and just click it, and it will just fall apart. Cut it across like that, giving you that beautiful drumstick and that wonderful thigh meat. If there's any little juices that come out, don't be afraid just to pour those back into your gravy, because it's all flavour, juices galore. When it comes, of course, to the breast, let's just take a nice little chunk here. You can see the herbs underneath. You can see the gorgeous, crispy golden skin. You can see that the breast meat is juicy, juicy, juicy. That's what it's about, guys. The smell at this point from the lemon is phenomenal. It's fragranced the whole of this amazing chicken. This lovely gravy over the top of the chicken like this. Wonderful. So that, my friends, is a classic roast chicken to savour and enjoy. The gravy is amazing, the skin is crispy, the herbs, and that juicy, juicy meat. Enjoy, happy roasting, take care. Guys, we're going to do a beautiful roast lamb, easy gravy. We're going to do an amazing Italian version of a kind of mint sauce that you're going to absolutely love. So first things first, got a leg of lamb from your butcher's. If you love good food, it's all about the leg. Now, flavours. Rosemary, beautiful. Just pick off some little sprues, rosemary and lamb, 2 peas in a pod. Really, really good. 3 cloves of garlic. Slice the garlic like that. Got a garlic there, got our rosemary there. And there's one more flavour that's absolutely going to divide you people, but you've got to trust me, anchovies. Now, some of you will be going, oh, I don't like anchovies, they smell fishy and all that old business. It's not there to be like a particular flavour, it's there to be a seasoning. If you're clever about it, you'll never, ever taste it. Slice up the anchovy into like little thin bits. So there's your 3 flavours. Then, if you look at the leg of lamb here, can you see how it's kind of red here and white here? And that's basically where the separate little bits of meat kind of join. So what I want to do, quite sort of, you know, bravely, is get the tip of this knife here and just stick it in and give it a little twist up, in between those little gaps. And then you can stick your finger in, and then get 1 little piece of anchovy, 1 little piece of rosemary, and 1 little fleck of garlic. And what happens in there, you see, is when the lamb cooks, the fat kind of starts to melt. That makes the rosemary fry, and the anchovy completely disperses into sort of like a juice. And of course the garlic sort of thundering away, giving it a good old hum of flavour. You can even nick some of this anchovy oil and just put a little bit over the top and have a good old slap around. Get yourself some salt and a little pepper. Look at that. Beautiful leg of lamb. Put your roasted meats on top of the rack now. The hot air can kind of get all around the lamb and roast the whole thing quite evenly. What we can do is we can prepare for the most incredible gravy. Get 2 or 3 onions, peel them, half them, slice them up. As that lamb cooks, all the lovely sort of sticky goodness comes out of it, and things like onions, when they roast or slowly cook, they go sweet and delicious and sort of jammy and gorgeous. So I'm going to put all the leftover bits of garlic, anchovy, rosemary, and all of the onions. I'm going to put that straight into the tray. Cook it for an hour, hour and a half. That is going to give us the preparation to make an incredible and easy gravy. Look at that, beautiful. So we've got all those lovely, sweet, caramelised onions and stuff. Get rid of as much fat as you can, and you'll be left with about a tablespoon in the tray. Looking good. All we have to do to make this gold now is a heaped tablespoon of flour. I'm gonna whack it straight on a medium-high heat. I'll break that frying with half a wine glass of red wine. So give it a little shake up. The wine will cook away. You can see immediately it's starting to thicken. This is like the secret ingredient with any dark meat. A little bit of jam like this going in will just bring all of those flavours together. Going to be really, really good. Kind of give it a little move around like this. Pint of chicken stock. And then you have a lovely onion gravy. So I'm going to turn it down to sort of medium-low. It will start ticking away. When it looks good, it's ready to eat. You might just want to season it with salt and pepper. Let's come back to this lamb here. You can actually pour out any juice straight in the gravy. That will help to give it flavour and thicken it. So what I want to do for this lamb is make a really good sauce. It's called salsa verde. If you like mint sauce, this is another world. I'm going to use a little chopper, bunch of mint, parsley, a little half clove of garlic, 1 anchovy fillet, 1 little gherkin in there, capers, just a tiny little teaspoon. What I want to do is just chop it up. You can see in there that's nice and fine, nice and rustic. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of good olive oil, a little teaspoon of mustard, a pinch of salt and pepper, and a swig of red wine vinegar, about 1.5 teaspoons. Right? And honestly, it turns literally everything you put it on savoury into something beautiful. So salsa verde is done, the lamb is done. I'm serving this beautiful dish with some smashed vegetables, swede and potatoes. Push that down like there to one side. Bosh, my lovely roast lamb like that. We've got beautiful gravy, a lovely new look at roast lamb, smashed veg, salsa verde, and beautiful onion gravy. Gorgeous. So I'm going to show you how to make the perfect pork belly. And it's a tough one. How do you get that incredible crackling, but then melt in your mouth, tender, juicy, gorgeous pork belly, right? A nice hunk of that, right? That's what I'm gonna give you. So guys, let's start with the pork. Go to your butchers. You want a free-range bit of pork. Look for marbling. And this fat will mostly render out, but the journey out kisses, looks after, takes care of the meat. Why am I doing a big chunk? Well, leftovers from this are gonna be amazing. Whether you freeze it, fridge it, use it within the week after, it's gonna be amazing. And I'm gonna show you how to score it. Now there's a little secret weapon, Stanley knife. So get a Stanley knife, change the blade. I don't want your grubby old blade from doing your DIY. And what's good about this is the fact that this blade can go up and down and it clicks, right? And we know that we can click that down and that's gonna go through the skin and score, and you're not gonna get into that meat, which means that juiciness is optimized, okay? I'm gonna go down the middle and I'm gonna score all the way down, take the skin, and I'm just gonna score it maybe every centimeter, almost like herringbone. So that's one side done. But what you'll notice is as I open it up, can you see that kind of concertina out? Heat can get in quicker, flavor can get in more. This is gonna be amazing. Turn it around. So score it up around here as well. And then I wanna make a flavored salt. It's a really exciting part of cooking. We're gonna use lovely spices and herbs. First one is coriander seeds, then fennel seeds, then black pepper. 2 tablespoons each and 2 tablespoons of sea salt. Then 2 bay leaves. Pull out that little central stalk here and bash it. Now is the time to use it. Rub it in, all the little crooks and crannies. Let it get in there. So I've added a little bit of olive oil there. That little bit of oil helps the rendering. But I want to brush off the seasoning from the skin now. Brush it off because it's inside there. And let's get 4 lovely white onions. Leave the skin on and I'm going to cut it into quarters. This is going to roast as a trivet under the pork. And the skin stops the onions from scalding. So use the onion to prop up the pork. You want it all to roughly be on the same plane. And then it's going to go into the oven at full whack, which is roughly around 230 degrees Celsius or 250, which is about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. That takes about 40 minutes to an hour. Then I'll show you what to do next. In the meantime, I am gonna get soap and I'm gonna just clean this place down. It is gonna be spick and span, and that includes me. The pork is looking amazing, and as that crackling's just getting perfect, I want to clank up a load of veg. We've got lovely potatoes, leave the skin on. Chunk them up into like inch chunks. In it goes. And then we'll do exactly the same with the fennel and the carrots. Got some celery here as well. Take some herbs, like rosemary. A whole bulb of garlic, leave the skin on. Just literally break it up. So season it with salt and pepper, then give it a really good mixing, but there's no oil here. So what we're gonna do is take the pork out of the oven. Look at that, come on! We have crackling, but now we have to change attitude towards the cooking because high heat gives you crackle, but it's gonna make this meat underneath tough. So now we're gonna go to the oven and we're gonna turn it down to 150 degrees Celsius, which is about 300 Fahrenheit, okay? So we've gone from high to low cooking. This is the genius. What we have underneath, listen to that crackling. Oh. So what we have here, ladies and gents, is the potential for the most amazing homemade gravy. People are gonna go nuts for this. We have already got guaranteed crunchy crackling, right? So I wanna guarantee you tenderness. So we're gonna do that by another brilliant technique that I love. So I'm gonna take this pork, put it straight onto the bars, put it back sort of towards the top of the oven. The veg goes underneath, and literally that fat, as it melts out of the pork belly, is gonna rain over all those beautiful veggies. It's gonna be incredible. Cook it for about 3 to 4 hours at 150 degrees Celsius, which is about 300 Fahrenheit, and you'll know when it's cooked when that meat just pulls apart and it's beautiful. We are at the end of the story, the best bit, right? When everything comes out. We have an amazing gravy. It smells so good in here. This recipe is rock solid. It's gonna look after you. And what's nice is as that pork cooked and rained fat onto these incredible veggies, I just mixed it up every now and again, like every hour. Look at that, just amazing. Wow, incredible crackling, outrageous. Oh my Lord, come on. Right, enough talking, let's get into the pork. Look at that, come on man. Just incredible. tender, juicy. If I squeeze it, just juice galore. Really amazing. You have got these ribs here, and look how much meat will come off these. Just absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Just absolutely beautiful. Oh, right. I'm peaking too soon. Time to plate up a portion. So caramelized and delicious. Come on. Oh, yes, you know it makes sense. Let's try that. So good. The flavor of the pork is amazing. Tender as you like. Crunch. The veg is so tasty. So guys, please don't just watch this and do nothing. Go shopping tomorrow. Go buy some pork belly. Click the link, get the recipe, take care.
Now for my comforting sausage bake. Minimum effort, maximum flavour, gorgeous grub for those you love.
This is a really tasty dish, but I'm gonna warn you, right? It's probably the most unchefy thing I've ever done. It's quite frumpy, it's quite ugly, but the combination's genius. And when it comes out the oven, 50 minutes later, it's delicious.
With ripe cherry tomatoes, garlic, rosemary focaccia, white beans, and free-range pork chipolatas.
This is something, it's just comfort food at its best. It's a combination that's so good. It's a bit like kind of when you have a day in wearing your gym jams or that kind of frumpy old jumper that really shouldn't see the street or your friends. I've got 600 grams of beautiful cherry tomatoes here. What I'll do is I'll half the regular cherry tomatoes like this. It's kind of, you know, a bit like a savoury bread and butter pudding. It's got that feeling that makes you always want to go back for another bit. It's delicious. So the second ingredient is the bread. I'm using focaccia here. I really like this bread in this dish. Just tear it up, but of course you could use any stale bread. Just get it in there, 200 grams. So that's a rosemary focaccia. And then we're going to go for 4 cloves of garlic. So just peel those cloves. And then I'm going to finely slice these. The garlic goes in, and then the fourth ingredient, beans. Now, tin beans are brilliant, really brilliant, but if you look in good supermarkets and delis, you'll find that there's a whole range of beans in jars. And generally speaking, the jar of beans have more love, more care, more attention. They're just in a little vegetarian stock, and they just taste amazing. And just take the juice and all, everything goes in. I'm going to dress this now, almost kind of like a salad. So I'm going to season it generously with pepper. We're going to go in with a swig, about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, some extra virgin olive oil, tablespoon, and then we're going to give it a nice little toss-up. And the stodge of the bread and the beans is just going to kind of exaggerate now. So that's kind of the heart of the dish done, seasoned up and lovely. So last ingredient, a good loyal friend, chipolatas. So I've got 12 quality chipolatas here. I want to just pinch them in the middle, twist, pinch in the middle, twist. I literally only do this just for portion controlling and just to kind of make more of the sausage, really. And they're all going to sit on the top. So I'm just going to push those chipolatas in. Let's do one more here. Most of the sausages will be golden and crisp, but some of it will be kind of blonde and soft, and it's just going to be utter comfort food. The sides will kind of just cook away a little bit and go crispy and gnarly, and in the oven it goes at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for 45 minutes or thereabouts until golden and delicious looking. Oh, the smell is amazing. Look at that. Sizzling, flipping away. Everything just cooked into each other. So beautiful. You know, that is exactly the kind of thing that I love to do. Quick, easy, things that you know people are gonna love. Some of the sausage here is golden, and then if you turn it around, some of it's kind of like soft and gentle. Delicious flavour going into everything. I just say, enjoy the simplicity. Got 4 big old portions there. Let's have a little taste up. Delicious. The beans are like literally the best baked beans ever. So good, so tasty. It's amazing, it's so easy to put together, but the oven does all the hard work. I think in a way you take just a small amount of sausages a long way. You get a big bang for your buck, but it is comfort food at its best. It's not glamorous, but it's like the best company ever. Comfort food, stodge, gorgeousness. What's not to love? That, on a slightly chilly day, or frankly any day, is all good.
A phenomenally fast, no-frills feast for the people you love best.
Right, what I'm going to do now is a beautiful sausage stew, sausage sort of casserole. And the thing I love about this is it's all in one tray. So I'm going to do it in the wood oven, but what you do is get yourself a tray, put it on the hob, get it reasonably hot. I want a sloosh of extra virgin, a couple of tablespoons, and I've got some lovely pancetta. Just lay this pancetta, or you could use smoky bacon, straight onto the tray, like this. And as soon as it's kind of reasonably crisp and golden, we can pull it out. Now, to go with it, what I've done here is I've just taken out the stalks. You've kind of obviously made an incision in the tomato. So what I want to do is I want to sort of scald. You know how you put tomatoes in water to blanch it, 40 seconds, skin comes off. I'm going to do that, but without water, I'm going to do it in the oven. So I'm just going to get literally our bacon, you can hear it sort of sizzling away. As soon as that crispens up, we'll jump on it. Now, herb-wise, flavour-wise, bay leaves, 5 or 6 of those, some oregano, some rosemary, nice meaty herbs. Right, have a look at this. So you can see all the lovely fats come out of this bacon, pancetta. Right, and what I want to do is just push the bacon to one side and then just click off a few of these lovely little leaves straight into the fat, and they'll start frying. And that will flavour the fat again. That's what we want, the flavour in the fat. 6 or so bay leaves, oregano off the stick, and then rosemary. You can go pretty generous on the rosemary. Rosemary and pork, rosemary sausages, rosemary tomatoes. God, it works really, really well. So mix the bacon back in, and then I want to get these tomatoes, sit them on top of the oil, and obviously the bases of those tomatoes are exposed and have the core taken out, so that's a brilliant journey for the juices to sort of cook out of, leaving you with a lovely tomato, sort of keeping reasonably whole. So just line these up. Here we go. Look, that fills it right up. Brilliant. Once we've done that, this can go straight back in the oven, just to sort of blister the tomatoes. I've got these lovely sausages here, and just get a little bit of olive oil and just rub it all around your sausage. Lovely. So I can hear by now the tomatoes have had a fair bit of action. 3-4 minutes in this oven, maybe 5 in your normal conventional oven. But what I want to do now, you can let them cool down a bit if you want, or use some tongs, but I like to just sort of pinch off the skins. So literally just pull them off. And that's the thing about this dish. There's not that much going on in this dish. But it will be brilliant. It will be a little showstopper. But you do have to buy good sausages, and you do have to pull your finger out and have a little sniff around the market. Get yourself some good ripe tomatoes. And any ones you can't get off, don't worry about it, because you can pick them off the stew at the end. It's just to get the worst of them off, really. And then just, with a spoon, just mix it up. Try not to break the tomatoes up. I don't want, I'm not making a tomato sauce. That's not interesting. I want to do a roast tomato sauce, and that's different. I want to keep the size, I want to keep the chunkiness, the lovely fat from the bacon, the herbs, the different kind of more robust herbs. And then these sausages, which have been sort of tossed in the oil, just can be dangled in and around, and you want to just push them in between your tomatoes. So they're all going to cook together. All I want to do is get a little bit of garlic. I'm not going to peel them. Just going to put them in and around. That will flavour the sauce a little bit, but we'll squeeze all that lovely sweet garlic out. And that's sort of it. Little drizzle of olive oil, and then a little seasoning with some salt and pepper. The best bit of the dish now is the slow cooking. So I'm going to put that in about 180 Celsius, about 350 Fahrenheit, and I'll turn the sausages maybe once or twice in that time, and it'll be delish.
Look at this. Come on! Fantastic. And if you imagine being that sausage, right, roasting on top, and underneath all the tomatoes and herbs are cooking into the sausage. And the sausage is cooking into the tomatoes. Beautiful. We definitely need something to mop up all those lovely juices. It could be polenta, it could be rice, it could be some really big chunky pasta and chop the sausage up and toss it all up. But I think this. Get a nice bit of bread, cut it up like that, give it a nice rip up, and then get the lovely tomatoes in on top of that bread, like that. Get a few nice sausages. Look at that, all the juice at the bottom. To finish it, a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Just a few little drips around the sauce, and that is just going to mix in a real treat. But that is a cracker, absolute cracker.
We're going to use a great British banger like the Spanish would use a chorizo to create a right old flavour fest. Believe me, a little goes a long way. Smash in a lovely dressed salad and you've got an instant new classic for 4 people. All of that in just 15 minutes. Happy days.
So this great dish is just a little mainstay in my house. Kids, friends, family, great for little dinners, lunches. You know, I've never met anyone that doesn't go, oh great, a beautiful sweet tomato and sausage pasta, brilliant. All you need is 4 good quality sausages. We got these little bad boys here. You know, use your local butcher, get some nice sausages. If you buy rubbish sausages, they're gonna be rubbish in your dish. So let me show you a little tip. I'm just gonna speed up the cooking of the sausage by getting a knife and sort of butterflying it open. And of course, it's gonna be golden and charred and crispy and sticky and gorgeous, so it's all good. And for me, that's the kind of whole thing about 15-minute meals. You know, we're doing the little tricks to speed up the cooking. A little bit of olive oil, tiny bit, just on the pork. We don't put anything in the griddle pan, and we go cut side down and try not to touch it for about 4 minutes or until it looks nice and golden and charred, and you can kind of push it down so it's all good.
We can now leave these bad boys to crispen up and move on to some really amazing sauce action. Creating big flavour normally takes time, but 1 chopped red onion and a few cheats will give this sauce the perfect hit.
I'm gonna use 2 little friends from the pantry that are gonna make this dish incredible. Number 1 is some jarred peppers, okay? Now, some person has roasted or grilled these peppers, right? They're sweet, they're intense, they're gorgeous. These are gonna create a massive flavour. And then fennel seeds, you know, just a heaped teaspoon, right? These are gonna be best friends, you know, with the pork, okay? 4 sort of nice peppers. Sometimes they misbehave, they just don't want to. And then over here, I'm just going to nick some rosemary. You want about 4 sprigs. 2 of them I'm going to put in here. And 2 I'm going to save for my sausage later. So, little wazzy woo-woo, pinch of salt and pepper. And that's big flavour straight away. Bashing up all the flavours, the herbs, the fennel seeds, getting cracked. Beautiful. So there you go, big flavour, already started. Let's just put that to the side. So, as usual with a nice sauce, we're going to start with a good old story of little olive oil and a little garlic. So I've got 4 cloves of garlic. I'll have a little drizzle up, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Into that, I'll put 2 cloves into my crusher, skin on, I won't bother peeling it at all, why waste time, and just bang, straight into it. As soon as that starts to turn colour, here, get in there with the peppers and onions and the fennel seeds.
I'm just going to leave the base to cook on a high heat for about 2 minutes. So now I can crack on with the pasta.
Get a pan on, high heat, my kettle's already boiled. Oh, don't forget to season the water. I've got some nice fusilli here. I think it kind of holds the sauce really, really nice. We've got pasta on. We've got sausages here that are looking pretty good. Let's get a fork and have a little turnover. There you go. And we want that crispiness. That's good. We like that. And just press it down. Oh. I don't know what to say, really. So just turn the sausages over. You can see as soon as you turn them over, they sort of bow up a little bit, and that's kind of pretty normal. Just take the lid off that. That's come to the boil. Get yourself a little lid and just flatten these down, and that's great. It'll keep it flat, but also it's going to speed up the cooking time again, so that's nice. So the sausages are crisping up, the fusilli needs about another 8 minutes, and now half a jar of passata will turn it into a fantastic sauce. Another little trick to getting deep, deep flavour in a very short amount of time is a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Gives it a nice caramelly, sort of dark, sweet and soury sort of flavour. Bring that to the boil and we'll be in a really, really good place. OK, sauce on, sausage, pasta, all going. Now for a beautiful salad. So we've got a good old-fashioned round lettuce and then lovely old-fashioned cress instead of just putting it in an egg sandwich. It's great in salads. And I'm using some rocket. Love a bit of rocket. You could use watercress if you want. So I'm just going to put them in and around the board. Then I've got the rocket that you can just sort of spray, you know, all over the place like this. You know, you don't have to just always serve a salad in a bowl. You can do it on big boards. Just get the cress here, there, and everywhere. So, salad is looking pretty damn good. Let's just have a little look at our sausage. Let's turn it back over. Just put these rosemary sprigs in here, and they're going to sort of fry in all the juices and be gorgeous. So give them a little shaky. And the smell is phenomenal. Look at the rosemary. Straight away it starts to sort of see that sizzling in there. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
The sausages are almost cooked. The sauce is blipping away, and there's still 4 minutes to crank up the salad with a delicious creamy dressing.
Zero fat yogurt is going to be the base to the really good, delicious dressing that's going to work so well with those kind of old-fashioned green salad things. So first up, about 3 tablespoons of yogurt. And then I'm going to go in with some mustard. About 2 teaspoons goes in, so a little, you know, a little hum of heat there. And then 1 lemon. Just squeeze it through your fingers. So you want a little pinch of salt. You want a little pinch of pepper. So give it a good old mix up. You have a little taste. Big flavour. And then you can use any soft herb that you want, but I've chosen to use chives. Just gather them together. Use the elastic band if it's come in one. Keep your little fingers tucked in. Right, all safe. And I'm just rocking the knife backwards and forwards and slowly moving. And of course, if you're rubbish, you can just clank through it and just correct it. It doesn't matter at all. And it really is a brilliant sort of white dressing. And you can use this instead of mayonnaise in beautiful homemade burgers. Just sort of move it in and around the board. And you can pretty much move it around and dress your own little bit at the table.
So the dressing's done, and just before we plate up, I've got a little trick to make the perfect pasta every single time.
One of the big problems in Britain, especially, is that people drain pasta and it sort of sits there on the draining board, getting dry and dry and dry. And that's why British pasta never looks like the Italian stuff. This starchy water is really important. Put a swig in there. It's just literally forward and back, forward and back. And there you go.
Get that on the table quick. Pasta waits for no one. And sprinkle with chives.
These beautiful sausages, and they kind of look quite gnarly. And just hack it up into little pieces. With the rosemary leaves, just sort of toss it up. And we take that, and that is a mighty, beautiful, delicious pasta dish. And just to finish it off, all I do is just a little bit of balsamic. Believe me, guys, you don't have to be a slave to the kitchen anymore to create those deep, rich flavours. The flavours are really big for such a quick sauce. Of course, the sausage is really crispy. You know, whenever I say to my kids, what pasta do you want? They're always like, sausage pasta, sausage pasta. People will really love that. Gorgeous.
It's a delicious, delicious dish that has 5 of your fruit and veg in one dish.
How's this for a superfood family dinner to die for? Smoky veggie chili with some nifty nutritional pulses and a Swiss-inspired twist.
I've got my traditional kind of casserole type pan. Let's whack it on a medium heat. Nice. But what I've done is I've put a griddle pan on the heat, okay? High heat. And we're gonna start charring up stuff.
I'm gonna quarter 2 onions, break them up into the griddle pan and char them for 3 minutes.
And then in the other pan, on a slightly lower heat, we're gonna go in with the flavour base.
Kicking it off, a tablespoon of olive oil, a heaped teaspoon of cumin seeds, 2 finely sliced garlic cloves, and 1 or 2 fresh chilies if you can handle the heat, and 2 heaped teaspoons of smoked paprika and cocoa powder.
It has the ability, cocoa, in this dish, to round off all the flavours and make it as one. I love it. And then last but not least, a tablespoon of peanut butter goes into this base. So we'll mix that up. That is the welcoming party to all of these lovely grilled veggies. It's dark, it's got spice, it really is unusual, but you're gonna love it. And you know, I'll put chili in this when I think whether it's kids or just fussy eaters, you can't just throw them into the deep end of a big sort of robust, exciting dish. You might have to just pull it back a little bit on the spice and just sort of slowly, ramp it up, introduce different veggies. But that's the kind of spirit, right? That's why this dish is so great. You can kind of fade it up and down to your own personal preferences.
Into the pot with the charred onions. And next in line for a good griddling, 3 mixed peppers. This will give them a lovely smoky background flavour.
It's not your everyday like chili, right? It's different. I really like this kind of prepping here, charring here, and building the story there. It's a really nice way to cook. So in we go with the peppers. Straight in with the red ones. It's definitely worth not skipping this stage, okay? Because when you dry toast and grill stuff, especially if it's on a barbecue, you achieve all these new flavours.
Cut 600 grams of sweet potatoes into 1 centimetre slices, skin on, and they'll cook down beautifully. Finely slice a bunch of coriander, saving some leafy bits till last. Get the sweet potatoes into the mix, followed by 3 tins of plum tomatoes. Swirl them out and put in 2 tins of water.
The last thing I'm going to put in here is beans. I've got some lovely beans here, butter beans. I'm going to go over to my stew and I'm going to put in the juice. And if you put the beans into the griddle pan, give it a shake and just don't touch it, they'll start to pop and split. Now, why would I do that? Texture. When I was a kid, my mum used to put kidney beans in a chili con carne and I'd pick them all out because they were slimy little things, right? But if you look now, the inside is fluffy. We've got flavour. That ain't no slimy bean right there, guys. That is a bean with attitude. You see, I know I'm a little bit weird because I actually, when I cook, I do watch it like telly. I do go into the oven and I watch things rise and caramelise and cook. And sometimes I bring my kids over and say, look at that, look at that. And they look at me like, you are so boring. But I don't care, I love it. Look, we know for a fact that Brits don't eat enough beans, right? The Koreans eat 10 times more than us, okay? So next time you go to the supermarket, have a look. Get 1, 2, 3, 4 different beans, get them in your cupboard. And next time you do any kind of chili or stew, have a little pop-up, get it in there. Little ways of getting the good stuff into your everyday cooking. This is what it's all about. It's not just about my recipes, it's about some of the kind of thoughts, some of the attitudes, up in the veg,
getting the beans in there. Just get that into your own cooking.
Get the pot butter beans into the veg, give it a season, and it's ready for the oven. Now here's a little kitchen hack for you. Cover the pot with greaseproof paper.
The greaseproof paper just kind of allows it to slowly sort of cook down and evaporate, but kind of stops it from doing it too quickly.
Along with 8 small baking potatoes, the chili is going to cook for an hour in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit.
So the chili's had an hour. Let's get in there and have a little look. Oh, yes.
Seasoned to perfection, stir in the coriander, and this beauty is ready to serve.
Straight in with the veg.
Grate a little cheddar cheese over the jackets, and for another hit of dairy, natural yogurt. Taken to the next dimension with a pinch of smoked paprika. And a final flourish of coriander. A good, honest, wholesome plate full of food for a hearty dinner, and only 445 calories to boot.
That is so good. Deep in flavour. You've got 5 of your fruit and veg a day in one portion right there. Easy, home run, do it. So let me show you how to make a tomato sauce, but guys, not a normal tomato sauce. Let's make a superfood tomato sauce.
Pour in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil on a medium heat, 2 sliced cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, and fry the lot for a minute. Into that aromatic mix with onions, celery, carrots, courgettes, red peppers, leeks, and butternut squash, skin on. It'll cook down nicely.
In the Oliver household, this 7 veg tomato sauce is pretty much always in our freezer. And we use it for simple pasta dishes, spaghetti penne. You can put it in stews, you can put it in curries. You get the drift, right? I'm gonna just, on a medium heat, cook it down. And after 20 minutes, it looks like this. So this is just pure, natural flavour. The sweetness comes out. And you've earned that through patience. So, you know, this isn't Monday to Friday, I'm busy running all over the place. For me, weekend, put it on, get on with other stuff, do whatever you got to do. We're going to add 4 tins of tomatoes. Now, a quick tip on tomatoes. You can get passata, it's fine. You can get chopped tomatoes, they're doing you a favour. But if you want the A-grade tomatoes, always buy plum tomatoes, OK?
We need about 2 tins of water, so half fill the empties and swirl around the remaining juices. Simmer for 25 minutes or until the sauce is reduced.
At this point, we've added no salt at all, so let's have a taste. Now, salt's an interesting one, right? Because we don't want to have too much salt in our diet. But by committing to cooking from fresh, on average, your salt consumption is going to be way down. At this point, we want to season with salt, and of course, this is going to have way less salt than many of the pre-bought sauces that you're going to get.
And that's it. Just cool it, blitz it smooth, and Bob's your uncle. Bag it up, squeeze out the air, and follow me to the freezer.
This kind of stuff weirdly makes me happy. I think I'm getting old, OK? What we've got is we'll freeze these down, and then you've almost got like a little library.
And you've got an instant sauce any day of the week, superfood, super fast.
Now the question is, what do you do with it? And I've got an amazing recipe that my family love.
These perfect pasta parcels smothered in mouth-watering 7 veg sauce have got 3 of your 5 a day and only 536 calories a portion.
This is something that is just a lovely thing to do at the weekend. In a way, it's a kind of another batch cook recipe because you can do a batch and freeze ravioli and cook from frozen, and the Italians do it and it's brilliant.
Get yourself 300 grams of fine ground Italian flour. Make a well in the middle and fill it with 3 free-range eggs. And that's all you need.
I do this with my little kids and we have so much fun, but it's basically making edible Play-Doh.
You can whiz the dough together in a food processor, but I prefer to use my hands. Knead it till really smooth on a floured surface. Cling film it and let it rest for about half an hour. Now, let's have a look at the filling, starting with the butternut squash. Dry roast in the oven for an hour at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit.
And then we've got ricotta here, which is 1/3 of the fat of a hard cheese. So this is delicious fresh, but I've got a nice little tip for you. What I did
was put that ricotta in the squash halfway through. And what happens, you can see it just tightens up and it becomes deeply crumbly.
Lose the skin and seeds and add 15 grams of finely chopped basil. Mash this tasty trio together and season it.
So there you go. That is, my friends, your filling. So let's do the fun bit. We've got the dough here. Of course, using a machine is kind of easier, but just to show that you can do it with a rolling pin.
Break off some dough on a floured surface, get it about 1 millimetre thick and about 12 centimetres wide. And that'll hold a heaped teaspoon of filling nicely. Brush on some water and seal.
Squeeze out the air, and that is your basic ravioli. You can just use a crinkle cutter, and you're gonna have that. Just beautiful.
So with the dough you've made, you'll probably get about 24 parcels of goodness.
You're always gonna do a couple of scruffy ones. Don't get stressed about it. You're gonna do some beautiful ones too.
I'm going to cook them gently in boiling salted water for about 2 minutes and let them have a dip in the 7 veg tomato sauce.
For me, this kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. It's the kind of food of my childhood. The only difference is my ravioli came out of a tin, and it probably wasn't balanced and it definitely wasn't a superfood, but this is.
Let's top these champs off with rocket, parmesan and a delicate drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Now that's what I call a plate of joy. With 3 of your 5 fruit and veg a day and only 536 calories a portion, super healthy family food with enough in the freezer to dine another day.
Oh, this is so heavenly this weekend. Just give it a go. You're gonna love it. Oh. And I want to show you some different ways to use barley because I really want you to all go out and buy some. All that wonderful fibre, protein and the beta-glucans that we know improve our heart. And today I'm going to use it to go alongside a vintage, old school Guinness and steak stew.
This hearty dinner with tender beef chunks, served with beautiful barley and steamed greens, is a brilliantly balanced bowl of goodness that your family can feast on. So, to kick off this casserole, get a large pan on a medium-high heat.
We're going to go in with a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going to add 100 grams of silver skin pickled onions, and loads of us have got these in the fridge, probably from Christmas, that's when I have them. They're peeled, ready and raring to go. And because these are pickled, the acidity throughout the cooking of this stew is an amazing gift, and they give you such a little kick of zing. Then we're going to go regular white or red onion into little petals. I'm going to pick a few little bits of thyme. You could use sage, rosemary, bay, pick whatever you want. It's starting to fry. We're getting some colour and some attitude happening. It's kind of like layering up.
Next, for some chunky winter veg, starting with 3 carrots.
Just centimetre slice. You want them big because it's going to cook for a couple of hours. So you want the veg to stand up to that cooking. It's already looking really, really splendid. Now, I've got a nice everyday veggie here, celery. These lovely outer sticks are fantastic for soups and stews and casseroles. And the heart here, that is the best bit. So often people chuck this bit away, right? No, no, no. The best bit is that, right? Look into that. Look how beautiful that is.
Slice the heart and chunk up 2 to 3 sticks of the outer celery. I'll save some of the yellow leaves to garnish with later. Then I want 800 grams of swede.
Often underloved, so I'm just going to cut that in half, and I just want to do nice kind of inch or 2 centimetre chunks like that. Just peel it, slice it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now you could swap this out for celeriac. You could put, you know, all sorts of veggies in here, pumpkin in the autumn. React to what's around, and I think what's brilliant about this is it's not about kind of fashionable kind of health food. It's not wheatgrass, it's not quinoa. Mate, it's barley. It's stewing cuts of meat. It's root veg. And it's just as delicious and nutritious. And, you know, it means that this beautiful food is for everyone, and that is the most important thing.
Finally add 20 grams of rehydrated dry porcini mushrooms, 1.5 litres of chicken stock or beef stock, and half a bottle of Guinness.
This is a porter-style beer. And a porter was invented for porters working in the markets. It really was supposed to be sustenance. All the alcohol will cook away, by the way, but dark flavours, malty, really working well with the veg and the beef.
Next, the meat, keeping the quantity low but the quality high.
So I want to show you a cut of meat maybe some of you haven't seen before. It's a skirt steak. I've got 500 grams here, and just having chunks of this is really nice. It's going to be so tender.
Skirt steak is leaner than many cuts of beef. Plus, it's high in the mineral zinc.
So it's really ticking all the boxes here for a wonderful superfood stew.
Season and cover with some damp greaseproof paper.
I'm going to whack it in the oven for about 2 hours. And I'm going to cook that at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And there you go. A beautiful little casserole. It's going to be great.
Now for the real hero of this dish, barley. An ingredient that's been around for hundreds of years. And it's a cheap, easy superfood ingredient that we can all get our hands on.
I'm going to cover 450 grams in a nice amount of water.
And when the stew has just 45 minutes of cooking left, gently boil.
Casserole in, pearl barley ready, happy days.
2 hours later, we're in a great place.
The pearl barley has been boiling away here for the last sort of 45 minutes. Have a little look, it's plumped up, it's lovely. And while that pan's on, that's an excuse to put a colander there, and I've steamed, just for 5 minutes, some beautiful veggies. So I've just got chards, kales, Savoy cabbage, nice leafy greens, okay? So we don't want to overcook it. We're cooking it really, really pure and nice.
The stew, which has been ticking along in the oven, is also ready.
Very exciting. There you go. Comforting food. Food that just makes you feel great. And you can see how the meat is just flaking and pulling apart like that. Absolutely delicious. And the thing is this, right? We've used less red meat and a leaner red meat, but we've bulked it out and made a beautiful, tasty dish. That's great.
Time to serve up. Drain the barley, and then I've got a great tip to turn this hero ingredient into a firm family favourite.
What I'm going to do is add 1 or 2 teaspoons of mustard, depending on how you like it, right? So I'm going to go 2 actually today. That is fantastic with a little cheese. Now I'm going to use 20 grams as a kind of seasoning, right? It gives you the most terrific, silky, delicious barley. A little salt and pepper, and we are ready and raring to go.
Whoever said being healthy had to be boring or restrictive?
You're going to be absolutely stuffed full of the good stuff.
Pimped up barley, so tasty and so good for you. Old school beef and Guinness stew, soft and comforting.
A nice big steaming wodge of greens. Simple, wholesome, good food.
And all for under 600 calories per portion.
Absolutely gorgeous. That barley is unbelievable. Everything that we love about mashed potato and rice, but this lowers cholesterol. It's a game changer, and most importantly, delicious. So I'm going to do a beautiful superfood curry from my new cookbook, Jamie's Everyday Superfoods. This dish is super exciting because we're going to be steaming cauliflower, we're going to be boiling rice, we're going to be roasting the chicken, we're embracing herbs, we're embracing spices. This food is going to fill you up with the good stuff. First job, we're going to get the rice on. So one of the easiest trade-ups that you lovely people can do to get healthier is go from your white pastas, white breads, white rices to whole grain. It's got more fibre, it's actually got a more complex flavour. It does need more cooking, so you're going from like a 10-minute rice product to something that maybe takes 20. So 100 grams of rice goes in, a little pinch of salt. So got the rice on, we're gonna whack the colander on to sort of make use of one pan, a little trick there. I'm gonna use cauliflower. Go through the stalk, let's just leave it in little quarters like that. Whack that into the colander. The leaves, throw in there as well. Lid on, so we're cooking rice and we're steaming cauliflower as well. Now, I've got some lovely organic yogurt. 3 tablespoons, and I'm gonna make a very simple dressing. I got 15 grams, a little handful of mint here. Take the little center leaf out of here, and we're gonna put that to the side. And then these bigger leaves here, throw into the liquidizer. Season it with a little salt. I want the juice just half a lemon, but often people take the juice and throw the outside away. This zest here is quite nice. That's more flavor. Let's go in there. I'm gonna squeeze the lemon juice through my hands to catch any pips. Okay, so let's whiz it up. You're gonna get an amazing color, like a beautiful pastel green, so refreshing to eat. Oh, it smells incredible. So that can go straight into a little dish. Cauliflower, nearly there. I just want to take the rawness out of it, just sort of like 5-10 minutes is cool. We're gonna go back into this dirty liquidizer. Don't bother washing it up. I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of gorgeous yogurt in here, and I wanna make a marinade, okay? 2 cloves of garlic. Bit of ginger, about 3 centimeters. Just whack that in. Pinch of salt and pepper. Then we're gonna spice it up. A gorgeous tablespoon of curry powder, okay? Have a look at that. Smells amazing. The same amount of turmeric. It's a massive anti-inflammatory. Tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. It's not classic at all, but it's got a real kind of twang and richness that I love. Use the other half of the lemon. Waz this up again. But this time we're getting big color. That wonderful orange color, garlic, ginger. That is done. Oh, so get yourself a nice roasting tray. Go in with the amazing yogurt marinade. What I want to do is create surface area on the chicken. See how one end is thin and one end is fat. We can balance out that thickness. Let's just do a little patchwork quilt. Let's just score the chicken at that fat end. Just go down about 1/2 centimetre. And that's going to allow you to create surface area, which equals crunch and character. I want you to get little burnt bits, because there's a fine line between burnt bits and perfection. Tip this chicken into that marinade. Perfect time to introduce the cauliflower is now. While it's lightly cooked, it's so open to carrying flavors. So rice is still cooking, fine. Just give it a little shake. Toss up your collie. Some of that yogurt will just simply burn on the bottom, and then some of it's gonna cling to the chicken and the cauliflower. You can get that flavor right in there. Lightly season it from a height with some salt, not too much, a little bit of pepper. There's a few little extra things you can do. So this is black mustard seeds. These will soften and give amazing flavor. This is what they make mustard out of. Sprinkling them from a height and they will make a difference. The same with cumin. Just a little pinch, sort of a teaspoon. Whack that in the oven, at the top of the oven, by the way, at 220 degrees Celsius, gas mark 7. So it's been cooking for about 13 minutes. Let's have a little look. It's looking good. This rice has now had about 25 minutes. Let's load it up, baby. Really, really, really nice. Let's get the chicken out now. That's exactly what I want. These little charred bits here, these little caught bit here and burnt bits here. Lovely attitude. Get some nice baby spinach in and around the plate like this. Chisel around, and you're gonna get crispy bits. You're gonna get little bits of, see how this sort of yogurt just kind of cooked on the bottom. It's delicious. I'm gonna put the chicken on the board here. Cauliflower goes in. Look at the colors, white, green, yellow. With the chicken, slice it up nicely. Have a look at this. Really, really good. This gorgeous mint dressing here. Fill those cups of spinach up. We've got the dressing on, 1/4 or 1/2 of finely sliced chili. Absolutely delicious. Sprinkle these on top. You've got carbs, you've got protein, you've got beautiful citrus and herbs in there, you've got your veg in there. This is rattling in at about 550 calories. Those lovely mint sprigs, this is when we sprinkle it on top. Enough talking, let's get a little bit of everything. So good. You don't want to eat healthy food because someone tells you to. It's got to be delicious, it's got to make sense. This is a recipe from my new book, Jamie's Everyday Superfood. Check it out if you want more of the recipes from that book.